Hey everyone, and welcome back to Building on 16. I'm Jason, and today I'm going to be giving you an update on our well here on our property. So a few weeks ago, I did a video on the actual well being dug. And now we have everything in place and hooked up, well, except for power to our meter, but that's coming. But we have everything in place here. We have the tank, we have the pump, we have the shutoff valve, and everything that goes along with having a working well on our property. So I'm going to go over some of the details on what all this ended up being and what we decided to go with. And of course, I'll go over the cost at the end of this video. All right, and before I get into this, I'd like to take this time to invite you guys to subscribe to our channel. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up because it'd really help us out for what we're trying to do out here. All right, the first thing we'll go over is how deep our well ended up being. But first, I'll tell you that the estimates were coming in at around 300 feet. And that sounded about right to us because we have a neighbor that they have a well that's a little bit closer to the road, and their well was around 400 feet. We have another neighbor that is pretty close to the same line that we're trying to dig on, and their well was around 200 feet. Our well came in at 120 feet. They found bedrock at around 65 to 70 feet. So we were extremely fortunate on where we decided to put this well because it just worked out that they found water very quickly. And we were able to come up with 30 gallons per minute, which is just amazing. All right, so that's on how deep our well is. Now, the second part of this is our tank. And it was recommended to us that a 44-gallon tank was going to work for what we needed. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on exactly what we're going to be doing with this well. But the tank's 44 gallon. I kind of wish we may have went with a little bit bigger tank. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you've had a well dug and you went with a bigger tank, or maybe you have a tank about that size. Let me know how it's working for you. But the 44-gallon tank is going to run off of, we ended up going with a 15-gallon per minute pump. And that's what was recommended to us from the well company. And they do this every day. So obviously we're going to listen to them. So 30 gallons per minute pressure and a 15-gallon per minute pump. So when he was installing all this, he added a couple water valves for us for your typical hose pipe. And then this right here is 1.25 inches. And that is what's going to run to our eventually home when we run water to it. And this one is what's going to run up to our campsite that we have, our campground area that we have, that we put in here at our property. And that water line is going to have to run 700 feet. And they told us we should have no problems getting that water run up there. And mainly because there's not a huge elevation change between here to where it's going. It's just the run. So between the 15-gallon minute pump and the 44-gallon tank, they said we should be good. So we extremely lucked out on the digging of our well and all of the components with this well. I would say are pretty standard. So we didn't really go extreme on anything here. So as far as the cost goes, now the estimates were coming in at anywhere between 12,000 to 13,000 when we were getting this priced out here just recently. We've got a price on a well a year and a half ago when we first bought this property. That estimate came in at 9,000. So we really thought that we kind of messed up by waiting, and are going to end up having to pay $3,000 to $4,000 more for this well. But because of how shallow they were able to dig this well, and we're able to find good water, the cost breaks down a little bit better for us. So in our area, the drilling of a well is $20 per foot. The casing, which is that white pipe that goes into the ground, and that goes all the way down to the bedrock and seals into there, that runs around $18 a foot. Now, again, the costs are going to vary for folks that do different size tanks or different brands or anything like that. Maybe add in any more valves or any other type of stuff like that can add more cost. But he did wire it on in to our breaker panel for us. And everything that sits right here, the drilling, the pump, which that is probably going to be your next biggest expense, honestly, deciding on what pump you're going to go with. But between the drilling, the pump, the tank, and all the extra valves and stuff like that, we went with our grand total. And this is to date. I mean, we still have a few more things to purchase for this. We're deciding on whether or not we're going to go with the plastic rock to cover this, or if we're going to build something. But for the most part, we're finished with this project. And that grand total came in right at $7,650, which is less than the lowest cost we had from a year and a half ago. So I can't begin to tell you how just blessed we are that this well was in the right spot for this property, because we've heard all kinds of stories about if we moved it over that way or we moved it up that way, it could have been 100 to 200 foot difference. So that's our well. That's the breakdown on where we are right now in our well. Hopefully the next video I'll be showing you actual water coming out of our well when we can get the power company out here to hook up power to us. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it even helps you out a little bit if you're thinking about putting a well in. But as always, if you have any comments for us on some of the maintenance items we can do, or even the covering that we're talking about doing, again, I mentioned doing the fake rock, but we're open to suggestions. Drop us a comment, let us know. I appreciate you watching. Think about subscribing to our channel, and we'll see you on the next one.